Hello, welcome to episode 151 in the Datapack tutorial series, version 1.21. We're going to run a command on dimension change. Right, I'm going to have a little bit of waffle. If you just want to see how it's done, you can skip ahead using the timestamps. This is from an idea by Moritz, who said, can we have separate inventories depending on which dimension you're in? And I thought, cool, that sounds like a good idea. And I started, my plan was to start with, let's just do dimension changing first. We'll do that because it might be complicated. Turns out it's not. It's actually rather simple. In fact, it's remarkably simple. So this is going to be a shorter video today, but let's have a look. So let's change dimension. You change dimension. Pretty simple. Change dimension. You change dimension. Okay, just to add an extra tiny bit of complication, I added a score called dim. And it tells you which dimension you're in. So I'm in 19, and if I go to the nether, I'm in 20, and if I go to the end, I'm in 17. Okay. So what we could do in the future is we can use that score and say, okay, right, if your score equals 19, you're in the overworld, give you the overworld inventory. Now, how's this working? So what it's doing is it's getting the name of the dimension I'm in, but it's saving it to an integer. And it can't save the name. The name is a string, so it just counts the characters. So if we look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Minecraft, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Minecraft Overworld is made of 19 characters. I'm in dimension 19. That's cool. The nether, I believe, would be 20. So we've got 10 there. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There's the nether. And the end was, I think it was 17. We can count. Minecraft is 10 with the colon. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, because they've all got different length names, it makes it rather easy for us. We can just save it as an integer. Now, if you've got custom dimensions which have the same length names, this isn't going to work. Okay, anyway, let's have a look at the rather simple Datapack. So we'll pop straight over to VS Code, and we'll look at the folders and files. Inside my namespace, I've added the advancement folder. Inside there, dim changed. And inside my namespace, we have function, and I've made my own folder, dim change, and we have a function called dim changed. And we're going to be using the load to create a score. Let's just start with a score first, because that's pretty simple, isn't it? So, player's dimension. What we'll do is we'll have a scoreboard, objectives, add. I'm going to call it dim, and it's going to be a dummy. Save. Load is done. Okay. Next, let's make the advancement for dim changed. And this is what made this rather simple. I thought I was going to have to track the dimension somehow, but I didn't want to be, ticking the player's NBT storage. There's an advancement for it. Super simple. So let's pop over to Misode. Let's give it a criteria name. I'm going to call it dim changed. Why not? Dim changed. Let's add that. And we'll go for a trigger. And the trigger is literally going to be change dimension. That's it. We're not going to specify which dimension or anything. We're just going to say, have they changed dimension? And we'll have a reward. And the reward will be to run a function. So let's put a placeholder in there. And we'll copy that. We'll take it back. We'll pop it into dim changed. And we better update that. And we're going to run the dim changed function. Copy the resource path from that one and put it in there. Okay. Nice. So, first thing we want to do in dim changed is revoke the advancement. In fact, we might as well just do the whole thing, actually, because it's so small. So let's do advancement, revoke, S, only, start typing my namespace, dim changed, revoke that. Let's store that score, execute, store, result as a score on this player into their dim score. And we will run data get. Yeah, we are doing a data get, but we're only doing it once each time they change dimension. So I think it's absolutely fine. We'll get it from an entity at S. That's not at S. That is at S. And we'll get it from their dimension. As I said, this will try and return a string, but scoreboards only store integers, so it will count the characters. And then we'll just say a message. Say, woohoo, I'll do. Let's go back. Let's do a reload. You won't see much has changed apart from instead of saying you've changed dimension, it's going to say woohoo. Let's change. Woohoo, and I'm in 20. Woohoo, and I'm in 19. There we go. As I said, remarkably simple once I found out that there was an advancement. Always worth checking what advancements there are. So, that's it. We're now running a command on a dimension changed. And we could, let's do a little bit extra just for fun. We could add some stuff in here. Message, execute, if score at s dim matches 19, run, say, overworld, and let's just copy that. And if it equals 20, you are in the nether, and if it equals 17, you are in the end. Save. Let's have a little try on that. Reload. F5. Okay, let's go to the nether. It says nether. We go back to the overworld. It says overworld. Okay, we don't need to demonstrate anymore. So you can see we can now use this. And the idea being next, what we'll do is if they go to the overworld, we will give them their overworld inventory. I might start off simple and just sort of give them one item because I'm not 100% sure what's the best way to do this. Obviously, the first thing we'd have to do sort of here, we might need to store their last dimension. And then we would sort of have save old dimension inventory. Then we'd store the integer to represent the new dimension, and here we'd probably have, well, instead of a message, this would be give I'm just going to say new inventory. It's not going to be a new inventory. It's going to be the inventory that is for each world. So if dimension matches 19, run function give overworld inventory. If it equals 20, run function give nether inventory. Something like that. Or we might actually be able to use this number here and have a macro that uses that number to point to storage. So I think what we'll do first, or next rather, what we'll do next first is a single player version that maybe just uses one item or something. Anyway, there's a lot of waffling in this one. That's why at the beginning I said use a timestamp. You can see how it's done. It didn't take long. Something has just occurred to me. We don't actually have to use a score to check our dimension. Now we can use a score and always have it sitting there and we can reference it because it's nice and quick. But it just occurred to me as well that what we could do is, instead of here and checking the score, if dim matches 19, say overworld, we can just literally say as s if dimension Minecraft overworld says overworld. So we could probably use, now I don't know, I thought I would just put this on just because I know someone would say, oh, but you could just check the dimension they're in. Yes, I can. We definitely can do that here. And I'm thinking off the top of my head, could we then, but we don't have anything we can put into a macro then. So I couldn't say access storage 19, access storage 20. But you can, if you want, check the dimension the player's in like this instead of using the score. I just thought I'd put that in there. It just occurred to me after I finished recording. Enough of that. Bye-bye. Okay, so came from an idea by Moritz. We'll be visiting this again at some point to improve it and see if we can get some inventory switching going on. Where am I? There I am. I'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.